Hello YouTube, this is Chris again, Big Normal Services. I'm going to try to get multiple videos up today or tonight if I can. Just been so busy and anyway, so um, I have talked about several Mandela effects on my channel and biblical and not biblical, and and eventually I find residue for a lot of them. Go through my channel, you'll see I've got ones for biblical, like the lion shall dwell with the lamb. I got residue of that. I've got residue of Forrest Gump. Life is like a box of chocolates. I've got residue for uh, the Manila or the Lord's Prayer, which I got tons of those I got to get made that are literally in the Bible in the context of the Lord's Prayer. So for it to be debt and debtors is just ridiculous, and that's not what I remember. And so much more. But so today, this is just yet another one. So today I was at the store picking up some stuff, and as you see, I got some milk there, and I got a few other groceries over here that you don't see. And I see this book. Time It's a Time magazine, and I just had a feeling to pick it up and go through it. This is what I do about all the stuff I talk about on my channel. I'm constantly researching and picking up things and going through things, and just sometimes I have a feeling down deep inside to do it. Other times I'm just curious or both. So I pick up the book, and as I'm waiting for the people in front of me to check out, I'm scrolling through the book. And I even talked to if you happen to be seeing this video, the cashier, I asked him if he believed in the Mandela effect, and he said, yeah. And I asked him if about the Monopoly guy and the monocle, if he ever heard about that. And he said, yeah. And I said, well, I remember back on my ranch, which I mentioned in other videos, that I grew up no power. So as for like a Coleman lights and kerosene lights and stuff of that nature and a generator. So um, we would play a lot of board games. And then if it was really cold in the wintertime, and we'd play a lot of board games, card games, stuff like that. So, and we played Monopoly a lot. And I remember specifically him having a monocle. And so anyway, to this magazine. This is a newer magazine too. This was on the magazine shelf. Um, Display unit 8/14/2026. So I mean, it's a fairly new book. Okay, so I'm thumbing through it, and what do I see? I see this here. Now, explain to me why this activist in 2021 named David Barrows, dressed as the Monopoly Man. I mean, and there's tons of other residue, like in Ace Ventura's movies, where Pet Detective, where he's making fun of the rich guy that's got the monocle and he's got the mustache and stuff like that, and he calls him money bags, and he makes Monopoly references. Okay, and he's got a monocle. Okay, that's neither here nor there, but that's more residue. David Barrows dressed as Mr. Monopoly, a symbol of wealth, concentration for a social justice protest in Washington, D.C. in 2021. So you tell me why. And they didn't make a mention about the monocle, and he shouldn't have the monocle or anything else like that. So you tell me why this gentleman is dressed like Mr. Moneybags, Mr. Monopoly, holding up the sack of cash and all that, and has a monocle, top hat, mustache, nice suit, so on and so forth, with a monocle. To me, this is just more residue of Mr. Monopoly always had a monocle. Yes, I've got tons of other videos I got to get up. I haven't forgot about them, as you see. This is the one with the uh, flat Earth in Australia, uh, fountain and all that. I got so much more I got to get up, but and that's not even counting all the ones. That's not what I wanted to do. That's not even counting all the ones that are down here. That's just specifically ones that I've got planned for making soon. But every time I turn around, I get one done and 20 more thousand I get set up to get made. I mean, look at this. I mean, this is all stuff that I want to get videos made on, and I need to get videos made on All of this. This is all stuff I send to myself to make videos on. This is, before I get off here, I want to show you. I've made mention several times about um, a laser reflecting, uh, like a disco ball thing that I found using Star Walk app. Um, and this is it here. But this is for another video. But it's got laser reflecting mirrors all over it for like Project Bluebeam. I made a mention about this several times. I've been told I'm a liar, blah blah blah, and I told them I've had it. It's like I've seen the dark part of the moon facing the sun on the daytime. People say I'm a liar. I've seen it. I just haven't got it recorded. But again, you explain to me why Mr. Moneybags here that he's putting on this outfit playing as the character of Mr. Monopoly and he's got a monocle. And it's the only one that I saw in the whole book, thumbing through it. There was tons of other people dressed like Mr. Monopoly, Mr. Moneybags, with the mustache, top hat, suit, bow tie, everything. No monocle. He's the only one in the whole magazine that I saw that had a monocle on. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and leave it there because I got stuff I got to get done. But I just wanted to get this up because, I mean, like I said, this is a fairly new magazine, and it's all about, the whole magazine is about Monopoly. Nothing else. Monopoly. So, one more thing before I get off of here. I mean, there's a lot I could say about this specific Mandela effect alone, but I remember as a kid, and I would even joke around as a young adult with my children when we were playing Monopoly, and I would take a piece of glass or like plastic or whatever, that was like a circle, and I would stick it in my eye, like you would hold a monocle, and I'd put it on there, and I would act like I was Mr. Monopoly. I can't be the only one that remembers doing that. I can't be. Um, but yeah. Also, I've noticed a lot of things since they supposedly turned off CERN, but I've also seen there's multiple other CERNs that are still on. This was a CERN representative said this herself that they didn't turn off CERN. There's other CERNs that are still active. They're only turning off bits and parts of CERN at a time to do repairs to upgrade the magnets. That they're not completely shutting off the big CERN that I believe is the abyss spoke of in the Bible. I did a video about that, but um, there's a thing called disappearing object phenomena (DOP), and I've been noticing that. Like, I mean, looking back over my life, I've noticed that where things will disappear for no reason, and then they'll reappear sometimes in the oddest spots. Like here recently, I've had movies and video games and tools and all kinds of stuff just disappear, and I have no idea where they're at. And I knew where they were at. I knew where I put them. Uh, but I mean, there's just so much crazy stuff going on right now. Uh, Things flip flopping back and forth. Uh, from the Mandela effect, or what they call glitches in the matrix. I've been noticing that a lot lately too. Um, I've got a story from a few years ago, but I won't go into it too much in this video. But me and my wife were out, and one of our sons was out camping, and well, maybe I'll go ahead and tell it, because it's just a small story. It was a few years ago. I have the dates and times written down. If you want me to give a full date and time, make a full video on this by itself, let me know. But long story short, is we were camping and we went up on a Friday. One of our sons couldn't go, and our other son could go. And so he went up. We stayed the night Friday night. He went back Saturday and was supposed to be coming back up Sunday, but he couldn't get off of work. So we were there Friday night, all day Saturday. We hung out, fished, and all kinds of stuff. And this is one of the most weird experiences I've ever had in my life. And I've had some weird ones. I know I still got to get my Bigfoot one up about all the different experiences we've had, my family and me, and different things like that we've had with Bigfoot and UFOs, and it's goes along the lines with everybody else talking about it and how they think that Bigfoot, well, almost everybody, is tied in with the aliens, and he is possibly a Nephilim, which he would match a Nephilim, but or an offspring of the Nephilim. I mean, he looks human, but he also looks like a giant. But anyway, let's get back to my what I was saying because I don't want to make this too super long. Is we, like I said, we were there Friday night, camped, set up tents, had dinner, happy drinks. Um, Not a whole bunch, not like to get plastered, just a few drinks. Um, and we went to bed. Next day, got up bright and early, had breakfast, went fishing, hung out, whatever. He went back, one of our sons. Uh, and he was supposed to come back up that night, and he didn't. He couldn't make it because, like I said, he had to work. And so me and my wife are sitting out, and we can see the way we're sitting. uh, there was a road that was just above the mountains that we could see. We could see the cars coming um, from right to left. So that would be east to west, I believe. I'm trying to get my bearings on which the way we were sitting. I believe that was east to west, but it was right to left. We could see the cars go by, and they didn't come down completely onto the mountainside that went down and touched into the campgrounds. And there was different sections of the campgrounds, and there was one road that came in to the campgrounds, and where it wide, it went up to that road I was just talking about, and then there was a road that went down into the campgrounds, and it circled around to different parts of the campground, and you could see the water off to the right if you circle back around or circle around to go back out towards the outside and go out. And there was every time that we would see this, we would look around and see if we could see where the light was coming from because it looked like a spotlight. Like we couldn't see the beam coming from behind us, but that's what it reminded us of. But it was square. It was weird. It was a square light. And kind of like if you took this picture right here and then turned it sideways. That's the best way I can describe it, is what it looked like to the shape. And like I said, every time it would happen, we would turn around real quick to see if we could see somebody, because they were people talking and having a good time and having drinks and bonfires and stuff like that. It had nothing to do with bonfires. When the car would come our way, it never reached up to the mountains. It would just stay on the roadside and maybe a little bit up into our campgrounds, depends on how bright the lights were. But every time this light would happen, we'd turn around and we would look, and there would be nothing. No flashlights, no spotlights, no cars moving, nothing. And it was weird. We both got a weird feeling. And so I had a feeling to look up. One of the times that it did it. And I looked up, and I looked at the stars, where the stars were in the sky. The ones that weren't fixed, the ones that actually move in the dome. And I probably got a bunch of people just clicked up just now. But or you guys are really heavy invested and you guys want to know what's going on here. So, and this is no joke. I'm not making this up. This is 100% true. My wife can verify it for me. It was a complete weird night that whole night. But I looked up. I got a map of the where the stars were sitting. Okay. And I look back down. I start talking to my wife. It happens again. So instead of looking behind us and around like we had been doing, I looked straight up to the sky instantly. and the stars had moved right to left. They glitched. I mean, and it wasn't like hours. This was like every 5-10 minutes or so. It was like literally minutes in between. And so the stars didn't have time to move across the sky that quick. And that happened quite a few. I want to say 3 times. I could be wrong on the amount of times that I noticed it. But once I started noticing the stars moving, I'd have to talk to my wife and just make sure that I'm right on the amount of times that we noticed the stars moving in the sky too quickly. It was like the stars were here, and instead of slowly throughout the night moving across the sky, that'd be like an hour or two, and then another couple hours they'd be like over here. It would be the light would happen, and then it would go over here, and then the light would happen again, and it would happen here. It would go like this, and it was weird because the light was, like I said, if you turn this sideways, if you're looking at the screen right now, and if I turn this sideways, the light would always start at the same spot and end at the same exact spot. It wasn't like one time it was over here, and then the next time it was over here, and then the next time it was over here. And there was a few times that cars actually went above while we were sitting there talking, and the cars went across and the lights barely lit up just past the road, not down here where we were seeing it. And it was a weird light too. It wasn't our logical brain tried to explain it away at first that it was a spotlight, flashlight, this and that. And I'm like, yeah, babe, but it's square. And the size of it, that would have to be like a big, huge spotlight, and we would see the light from behind us. We would see the beam with the dust and all that, the particles of air and particles of dirt and stuff. We would see that in the light. That's how that works. And she's like, yeah, I agree, and we don't see anything. It was just a weird night, a very weird night. Uh, but like I said, that didn't last for very long. And like I said, I'll talk to my wife, and if you want me to make a part 2 of this and give actual times and the date and verify the amount of times, like I said, I believe it was 3 times once I started watching the stars that it happened and then it stopped. I'll talk to my wife and verify that if that's what she remembers. But that's what I remember. But I don't have to verify too much on that story, other than like dates and times, and which I have wrote down because, like I said, I have another video that I was gonna talk about this on specifically by itself. But yeah, it was a weird night. Let me know if you guys have had any experiences like that before. I've got so many of these different stories of weird stuff that's happened to me in my life. Uh, Another reason I got to get back to doing lives, and I do have a guest. We'll call her a special guest. She's one of my YouTube fans slash subscribers slash sisters in Christ. You know who you are. I talk to you quite often in private. That I was supposed to be having on my channel, and we're still trying to work out the details. We're going to do it live. We're going to do a video, or both. And it may be multiple times that I have her on my channel, to tell her testimony of different things that she's had happen to her in her life. And a lot of it I've talked about. Essentially, she's like a Christian whistleblower, of some very dark, demonic things. It just confirms all the stuff that, a lot of the stuff I've been talking about over the years. But yeah, I've got so many of these stories, guys, and I want to tell them all. I really do. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and leave it there because, like I said, I got a lot more stuff to do. But I wanted to add that in there. It was just gonna be about the monocle thing, and then I went on to that um, story. And it's a true story. It's a very true story with the crazy light moving on the mountain with no source, not coming from the sky, not coming from behind us, not coming from in front of us, just no rhyme or reason where this light was coming from, and it was affecting the stars and how they move. the best way I can describe it is like and I don't believe that we live in like a matrix, like the movie style matrix. I believe we live in a matrix of lies, and I believe the devil and demons will do stuff like that. Um, to trick people and to put blinders on people's minds and to get them thinking, oh, we live in a matrix. The same thing with the Mandela effect, we live in a matrix, it's glitches in the matrix. But that's the best way I can describe it, is what it reminded me of. It was like a glitch in the matrix. It was weird. Like I said, I got plenty of other stories like this that are real true stories. It's about me, my family, aunts, uncles. I got a cousin that me and him talk quite frequently. He's the one that me and him don't agree with on Jesus isn't God, and we don't agree on the biblical flat Earth. But there's a lot of crazy stuff that I kind of remember, but then I didn't remember because I was so young, that we've talked about paranormal stuff. Like there was a demon in my closet when I was a kid, and me and my brother saw him, and we kept telling my cousin that there, and I want to have him on my channel, and one day, hopefully I will, God willing. But we saw the demon, and we told my cousin about it. He's the one that brought this up to me, and he was telling me about it, and I vaguely remember it, but we were just kids. We were like 10 years old, 8 years old. Um, and somewhere around there. And but we remember, we were telling him that there was a demon with some big teeth in his mouth that was in our closet, and he went and looked, and couldn't see anything, couldn't find anything. Uh, but he remembers me and my brother very vividly describing exactly the same thing, and I kind of remember it. Um, that when it happened, us talking about it, and we were scared, and we were telling him, he was babysitting us, and um, yeah, I thought I've seen in that same house, my grandma's old house. I know I said I was going to get up here, but now I'm getting into telling stories. Um, it was around the time that gremlins were popular, and so it could have been pareidolia, but it was just kind of weird. There was a lot of paranormal stuff that happened on in that house. And Ouija boards are very real. My grandma had bought a Ouija board uh, as a board game, and so a Ouija board had been messed with in that house, and I think that's part of the problem with my grandma's old house, and why there was a lot of paranormal stuff that happened there. Like I said, I got a lot of stories. Um, but uh, anyway, there one night, I'm we had our beds. The way we had our beds, you come in the bedroom, and then there was you walked right straight into the bed, and if you took about 4 or 5 steps, and then at the foot of the bed, we had another bed. It was facing the foot of the bed towards that closet I was just talking about. And one night I'm laying there, and I'm the one under the curtains, and I look up, and I ask my brother. I said, "Hey, do you see that?" And I'm whispering it to him, and he goes, "Yeah, I see it." And I was like, "What do you see?" And he goes, "I see a gremlin sitting on top of the curtains," which is exactly what I saw. So again, we're just kids, but he's seeing the same thing I'm seeing without saying anything. And so I, I'm the big brother, so I muster my courage up. I jump up, and I flip the curtains open because there was a bright light that the next door neighbors had for a porch light, and so I knew that would come into our room enough to light up our room. Because me and my brother have opened those curtains and played around being little kids and got in trouble for it, and so we knew how the light worked. And so I popped the curtains open really quick, and when I did, what was up top disappeared. And so we just played it off in our minds that, oh, it's the shape of the curtains with the light and this and that. But thinking about it as an adult, how did my brother see the exact same thing from a different angle? So see, if it's pareidolia, different angle a lot of times will change what another person's seeing. But from that same angle, he was seeing a gremlin the size of a mogwai. If you know Gremlins, you know what I'm talking about. And he saw the exact same thing that I did from a different angle on another bed. Um, so I doubt that's what it was. But anyway, I can ramble on and on and on and on because, like I said, I got so many different stories. My brother's another one I would like to have on my channel to talk about this kind of stuff because we've, even as adults, we've had some crazy paranormal stuff going on at our old ranch house when we were no longer living there. No one else was living there. When we were living there as children, at my grandma's house, at different places, we've had all kinds of crazy, paranormal, weird, can't explain things happen to us that are just, yeah. So anyway, I'm really going to leave it there for now. Let me know what you guys thought about not just this residue here of the Mandela effect of a monopoly, but these stories that I just told you that are true. They're not made up. They are true. To the best of my memory, and even talking to my cousin and my brother, we've talked about these things, and we all remember the same things. Kind of like a while back when I told the story about the UFO, and me and my brother had seen it, and my brother thought it was the gates of hell opening up. We both thought it was a dream at one point. Our whole lives, we thought it was a dream. Come to find out, it wasn't a dream. We both had the same exact memory of it happening. That video's up on my channel as well. Um, but yeah, we've had some crazy stuff happen. Me and my family, um, even as adults. Most of my life, I've had these crazy things happen. Now I know, being much more into the Bible as I am, and in prayer and meditation and getting closer to God and His Son Jesus, I'm aware of what all this stuff is now. But as a child, I didn't know. And even as a young adult, I didn't know because I was listening to the world and how they describe these things and trying to explain them away as pareidolia or that's your dead relative or that's this or that's that, which I've talked about in multiple other videos. That's not true, and you better hope it's not true. Um, but anyway, so I'm really gonna leave it there because I got stuff I got to get done. But I wanted to put the monocle thing in there, and it just veered off into this. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and leave it there. Use all the links about me section. Rate, comment, subscribe. Much love. God bless, and I'll see you on the next one.